All right, folks. So what we're looking at for Unit 3 in the docket review for 131 American History is an interesting document. It's a proclamation by Thomas Gage. It's a big part to figure out who Thomas Gage is. Thomas Gage is responsible. He is a government official. He is working for the British government. This is before the breakout of the actual revolution, before the actual Declaration of Independence, but it's going to be after the Boston Massacre. It's going to be after the Battle of Concord and Lexington, and that's kind of huge, and so you've got to put the placement on it. What you have to know is that Thomas Gage is acting governor at some point along the way. He's also in charge of the military troops for the crown in this area. And it's going to be Gage who sees that this is a simmering pot. That this is something is starting to boil over. I want you to think about presently what's happening with demonstrations, what's currently happening in the United States and other parts of the world when we're looking at these George Floyd demonstrations and Black Lives Matter. It's definitely a simmering pot, and you have people trying to decide what to do. Is this going to end peacefully? Is this going to break out into something more brutal? Is it something that it's an actionary cause? And Gage is looking at the same thing at this particular point. We're looking at the growth towards revolution, and that's huge, this growth towards revolution, because what he sees is a series of incidents. He sees a rising tide, and this rising tide is starting to create more and more problems, more and more dissension. And so what he's going to do is he's going to, it's almost a game of chess at this point. He sees what's happening, and he says, what we're going to have to do is these colonials are getting hostile. These colonials are having some issues, and they're opposing the crown. And what we're going to do is make them more peaceful. What he's going to do is he's going to go, in spite of what his commanders, in spite of the advice from everybody else, as the governor, he's going to go ahead and anticipate, we're going to have a problem. Let's go ahead and eliminate some guns. Let's eliminate some ammunition from this. And so he knows the colonial militia has stores. They have an armory, and they have stores of both weapons and powder and shot. And so what he's going to do is take his troops and go up to Concord and Lexington and retrieve and or destroy this. The problem is, this is where Paul Revere is starting to fit in this. Hopefully you know about his midnight ride. Hopefully you know about the British are coming, because what's going to happen is he's going to send these troops to retrieve this, and although they're not going to face very much intervention on the way up there, once they get to Concord and Lexington, they've already called out, the colonials have already called out their Minutemen. They've already called out their troops, their colonies, and what's going to happen is they're going to say, hey, listen, the British are going in and they're going to take our weapons and stuff, and we need to be able to defend ourselves. And in the process of defending ourselves, what we're going to have to do is fight back. They initially fight back. That works out badly as far as how they're fighting back. But then what's going to happen is the rest of the troops will arrive the rest of the colonial militia will arrive, and they will waylay the British on the way back, because the colonists think that it's going to break out into all-out war. They think the British are actually going to destroy the towns they're attacking rather than just destroy the resources. What we're looking at here with this document is something a little bit different. This is issued after the fact. This is going to be Gage's attempt to save face. And he's going to say, listen, my troops were just out marching around. They were out for a pleasant walk. They were out having a nice day. They were doing some official maneuvers, some things that I asked him to do. And they were waylaid by these hostile forces. They were attacked by these savages, and these savage colonials wouldn't even stand up and have a proper battle. They took these men who were simply out for a walk and had to defend themselves, and they shot at them from behind fences. They shot at them from behind bridge abutments. They shot at them from behind trees. They wouldn't even have a proper battle. They stood and just shot at us from a distance. And there were lots of British men who lost their lives because of this, and they were just doing what's right. What he's trying to do is he's trying to take what happened, because this is his idea of what was supposed to happen, and what he's going to do is take this and use this announcement to kind of paint a picture. The British have been building its momentum. They've been building this, what has become a reaction. What they wanted to do was collect taxes. What they wanted to do was make the profitable American colonies pay for taxes and pay for the cost of the wars and stuff along the way. And what's happening is the American colonists are taking this personally. And when they start to take it personally and they start to have demonstrations, Gage is going to try to go ahead and stop some of the demonstrations, stop some of the violence before it happens, but he precipitates the violence. He makes it worse. He puts troops out there. Anytime you put troops out there, folks, you're not going to de-escalate the violence. You're going to escalate the violence. Yeah, I know what's happening right now, but it's going to escalate the violence. And then what he does with this afterwards, he says, listen, let me tell you what really happened. I know the Americans are talking about this. I know the colonists are talking about this, but let me just tell you, this is fake news. This is not what happened. Let me tell you the official version of what happened. And his official version of what happened is an attempt to repaint history, to take the blame off of himself and put it on these hostile colonists who attacked without reason. I want you to take a good look at the document and read it and see. And I want you to realize that it's propaganda. And we do a lot of propaganda, folks. We do a lot then. We do a lot now. It's hitting us on a regular basis. And what I want you to do is I want you to be able to look at this and read into this. And tell me, listen, who is he talking to? What's he trying to accomplish? Yeah, I know he's trying to repaint the picture of history, but what else is he trying to accomplish besides a quick, let me cover my rear end? What is he truly saying, and what do we see is happening? And so take a look at this and see, and then keep it in mind that you can compare it with what's happening right now, because you're going to see a lot of revisionist history popping up on Twitter and some other things along the way. All right, take care.